Yeah, so look, our decision to invest in AJO was fundamentally that we're a bit of a crossroads. We had a system that was fairly dated and that was fairly restrictive in terms of what we could do across the business. So we had a platform that could really only be used by very few people within the organisation. It required a lot of specialist coding and language to be able to operate. It just wasn't user-friendly in terms of its editing suite and channels. So AJO was really a bit of a no-brainer for us. We needed a system that could work cross-functionally across lots of different divisions, that we could orchestrate real-time events across different channels, and also be able to ingest new data points. So that was something that was quite new for us. Up until that point, we'd kind of had very limited data points that we were using. So so look, our payback and our investment in AJO has been a really quick one, as we have more automations, more personalizations, and just more things happening at scale. Yeah, it's a really good question. As well as the technology that was required, we also had to have a fundamental look at kind of how the organisation was kind of structured in terms of direct communications. And what we found is that we had a very decentralised and very fragmented approach. So one of the other things that we needed to do was actually centralise that and bring it all in one kind of centre of excellence. So that's what AJO kind of allowed us to do. We rather than sort of treat customers in these individual silos and individual business units, we had kind of one kind of single view of the customer, and that's so easily managed through the use of AJO. So that was really the transformational piece for us, was being able to get the whole business on board into thinking this way and actually having one platform and one centre of excellence to be able to deliver on that. It's actually been a fairly significant one, and there's two parts to it. One has been, the ease of use. So, having a marketing team that now feels really comfortable and confident with being able to drive a system like this and not being afraid. There's been the return on investment. So we've seen an increase of 68% in our revenue through the use of AJO. And that's been a combination of different things, from having more automations working for us, having more campaigns going out, getting that centralized approach. But yeah, compared to this time last year, we've definitely seen a huge improvement in our revenue. And then we've also seen an increase in our opt-in numbers, which again, we attribute a lot of that to the way we're running our automations and our engagement programs. So just the ease of being able to get people to opt in and to continue engaging with us. And then lastly, I think it's just kind of the trust, I think, from the organisation. We went from kind of, having this kind of blast approach and people just generally being very unhappy with the number of opt-outs and the complaints that we had in the call centre, to one that now is fully very under control. And that the whole organisation really kind of backs and actually recognises as being as a centre of excellence. Yeah, it's look, AJO has allowed us to have a more cohesive and more unified customer experience. So up until that point, we were really speaking to customers, in different silos, and what we really recognise is that it is one customer and it is one journey. And so AJO is fantastic at being able to treat that kind of like universal soldier all the way through their journey, and being able to deploy the right omni-channel strategy at the right time and with the right message. Yeah, really good question. Look, I think there were a lot of unknowns for the organisation when it came to AJO. I think the perception up until that point was that it's just an email tool. So it required quite a lot of education around, the importance of getting, data profiling right and actually growing and nurturing a first-party database. So there was quite a bit of time spent on just kind of, I guess, showcasing the importance of first-party data and the growth of that. The other thing too was, I mentioned before that we had a lot of cross businesses and cross units, and a lot of them weren't actually working together. So a big part of my role was actually looking at that universal view and how we may look at, the single view of the customer. So there was a little bit of education up front, just getting people kind of, I guess, in the mindset of, how to best use a tool like AJO and how to get the best out of it, and move away from the whole, it's just another email tool. So I'd say spend some time like getting the organisation understanding, the value and the benefit, talk about the objectives that they're trying to, achieve, and then try and have a cohesive plan between all of them. So I think that buy-in is quite important. And then, of course, when you launch, then revisiting those objectives, they may change. I think people's ideals at the beginning of what a unified view could look like can sometimes be quite different at the other end. So it's just constantly, recalibrating and tweaking. And the other thing I'd say is, don't try and do it all in one hit. I think that's another thing too. There's this perception that you need to have all of your data points ready and you're going to ingest everything on day one, and you don't have to. We started doing a very basic lift and shift. Just to get us, out the gate, and then gradually started ingesting different data channels as and when we needed them. And some of them were actually, not useful. We decided to do away with it, even though it was part of the original master plan. So I think less is more in this regard. Like, start small and just build incrementally as you start to understand a little bit more of your use cases. Yeah. We see AJO as being hugely important in terms of our customer growth strategy. We have reward programs and a whole bunch of customer engagement, marketing activities that need a central platform and some kind of tool or engine to be able to drive that. And up until this point, a lot of them have been managed in different platforms. So we see AJO as hugely important in terms of being able to consolidate all those efforts and have, again, one centre of excellence to be able to deliver on that. And also for us to have a kind of more protective view of our data in terms of all of our customer data being in one place and how we nurture it, how we grow it, how we profile it. So what started off as just kind of being something that could be used as a revenue generation tool, it's now grown into something which could actually be the centre of, our where we keep our data. So yeah, it's hugely important for our customer growth strategy.
Paloma, thanks so much for your time. It's been really good hearing from you about all your experiences with AJO, and all the best for the future.
Thank you so much.